Hello and welcome to Feedstuffs 365 and National Hog Farmer. I'm Ann Hess. Since porcine epidemic diarrhea virus entered the U.S. swine herd in 2013, it's been an industry battle, necessitating robust biosecurity measures and industry collaboration and coordination on research and on-farm measures. Joining us today to discuss the latest research and progress in the fight against PEDv is Dr. Marisa Rotolo, Director of Swine Health for National Pork Board, and Dr. Megan Niederwerder, Executive Director of the Swine Health Information Center. Welcome to you both, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Ann.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Before we jump into today's discussion, I'd like to remind the audience tuning in, you can post your questions at any time in the chat there, or if you're tuning in via social media, you can post those there in the comments. So I want to start the conversation by having each of you maybe describe your roles within your organization and how the two work together for helping producers with disease management and research. Marisa, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I am one of 3 directors of swine health at National Pork Board. My main responsibility is managing the Swine Disease Research Task Force, which is a group of subject matter experts, veterinarians, and producers. We meet on a monthly basis to discuss industry challenges, what producers are facing on the SLAT level, and ways that we can build research priorities based off of those communications. And then we'll develop requests for proposals where we receive proposals and review them for funding to address those challenges and move the needle on disease.
Very good. Megan?
Yes, I serve as the Executive Director of the Swine Health Information Center. And the center was launched in 2015 with pork checkoff funding, really with a mission to identify and mitigate the risk of emerging diseases to protect and enhance the health of the U.S. swine herd. And so me, along with my colleague, Dr. Lisa Beckton, who serves as the Associate Director of the center, we are responsible for implementing both the objectives and the mission of the center, which includes preparedness activities for emerging diseases, both global and domestic disease monitoring, looking at swine health data to inform those emerging risks, and also having targeted research investments, trying to, again, mitigate the risk of the next emerging disease and protect the health of U.S. swine.
So we're talking PED today. And Marisa, let's talk about that impact we've seen this disease have on the industry from a swine health, employee morale, and even an economic perspective.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, PED was first detected in the US in the spring of 2013, and it really challenged our industry. It can cause high mortality in our younger piglets, which has a real impact on the morale of our animal caretakers. You know, when you get up and you walk the farrowing room and you start seeing signs of PED, it can be really devastating to the producer. Fortunately, we've learned a lot about PED and we've reevaluated our biosecurity practices, especially as it relates to feed and transport biosecurity. It really shows that our industry is committed to the health of our pigs and people, and that commitment is reflected in the continuous changes that we make to advance and improve our practices.
Now, Megan, I know you're going to go over some research results here from the Wean to Finish biosecurity projects, but give us some background on that and the projects you've been doing thus far.
Yeah, the Wean to Harvest Biosecurity Research Program was something that the Swine Health Information Center partnered with the Foundation for Food and Agriculture Research, as well as the Pork Checkoff, to form in 2022. And the rationale behind it was that we were seeing higher disease prevalence, such as PRRS and PEDv, in those wean to market categories, age categories, as opposed to the sow or breeding farms, indicating that we had moved the needle on biosecurity in the sow breeding farms, but perhaps still had some work to do in those nursery and grow finish phases, as well as that transport connection with packing plants and other terminal points of concentration. And so we formed the program to not only increase the scope and the breadth of the projects that could be funded through that, but really to try and take a comprehensive approach on site and transport biosecurity. So this program was founded in 2022, and since that time has funded 23 research projects, again focused on both site and transport biosecurity.
That's quite substantial. Tell us about this latest research project involving PED.
Yeah, so this latest research project that was focused on alternative trailer cleaning methods. This was a project that was led by Dr. Roger Main as well as a team of researchers at Iowa State University. And really, the goal of the project was to compare trailer cleaning methods with regards to the risk of trailer contamination leading to on farm contamination of PEDv and transmission of disease at that trailer farm interface. And so, what they did was they looked at 5 different treatment methods. So, looking at positive control or no cleaning, negative control, and then evaluating 3 different types of trailer cleaning methods, including a dry cleaning method, so that they used a scrape and bake, meaning they scraped the trailer but did not use any water to clean the trailer, and then baked it at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. The second trailer cleaning method included a volume hose flush out followed by disinfectant. And then the third and final one was a power wash followed by disinfectant. And so they really wanted to understand which one of those trailer cleaning methods reduce the risk of PEDv transfer on farm. And what they were able to discover through this research project was that the 2 water-based methods, so both the volume hose as well as the power wash and disinfect, were effective at reducing the level of PEDv detection on farm, or that simulated transfer from the trailer to the farm, as well as inactivating the virus. Whereas the scrape and bake or the non-water method was not as effective.
Interesting. Seems like, water is always good in the disinfectant, but to find out that the bake wasn't necessary, that's interesting. Marissa, when you're hearing boots on the ground from the industry, what, as this research is rolling around, what's the insight, what's the feedback you're hearing from SHIC's approach and its application for farmers?
Yeah, so SHIC has a very robust process to ensure that their plan of work fits the needs of the industry. They've got multiple working groups to help address a range of topics, and they allow for flexibility if new pathogens pop up, such as JEV or H5N1. Pork board staff and SHIC work very closely together. We each sit on each other's working groups and task forces so that we allow for the opportunity to collaborate but not duplicate. So it's a really good complementary process between pork board and SHIC, and it allows us to address the producer's needs from an emerging and transboundary disease issue as well as an endemic disease challenge.
And I understand SHIC's not the only swine health organization collaborating on PEDv, but American Association of Swine Veterinarians has established a task force. Marissa, can you tell us more about that?
Yes, so I co-lead the AASV, or the American Association of Swine Veterinarians, PED Elimination Task Force. This task force was started last February and it has an end date of February 2026. And so I co-lead this task force with Dr. Paul Yeske. We have a lot of good folks on the task force like JQ Zhang and Darren Matson from Iowa State. We have Pete Thomas and Mary Bottrell, both practitioners from the Midwest and the Southeast region. And we also have Tyler Hulk and Vienna Brown for the US SHIP side. We've got 5 goals assigned to us from the AASV board, and we're currently working through each of these objectives in order to really begin the process of what does a national eradication program look like? What are our knowledge gaps? What tools do we need to help producers combat PED? And how can we leverage industry initiatives such as US SHIP or US Swine Health Improvement Plan to lay the foundation for a potential elimination program?
Megan, do you have any insights on these efforts with AASV?
Yeah, I think this effort is really important. Of course, from a historical perspective, the Swine Health Information Center was formed after the introduction of PEDv, really with the goal of preventing the next introduction of a transboundary disease such as PEDv. And so, certainly invested in these current ongoing efforts for PEDv eradication. I think one of the ways in which the Swine Health Information Center can help or contribute to this effort is through the domestic disease monitoring programs that SHIC helps support. So that includes the swine disease reporting system, which is a collation of veterinary diagnostic laboratories. 6 VDLs participate in that, and they collate the veterinary diagnostic laboratory results, including the percent prevalence of PEDv. And so it shows not only the percent detection in different age groups, but it also shows that normal seasonal variation of PEDv detection, and certainly can provide information with regards to regional prevalence. The other domestic disease monitoring program that SHIC helps support is the Morrison Swine Health Monitoring Program, which is where producers voluntarily report their system level disease, including PEDv. And so those two programs, I think, will really contribute to the knowledge and, of course, the progress of any PEDv eradication efforts.
Yeah, all these efforts underway, the task force, those reports, it would be great to one day not even have to discuss PED and see that elimination happen in full force. But before we wrap up our conversation here today, any key takeaways, final thoughts to leave our audience? Marisa, I'll start with you.
I would say it's just important to note that we've got a lot of different industry groups working for producers, working for veterinarians to move the needle on disease, not only PED, but PRRS, mycoplasma, influenza, right? So our producers have a good group of folks working for you every day to ensure that we are moving the needle on disease, whether that's a PED eradication program, learning how to manage PRRS better, getting prepared for foreign animal disease. We've got really good folks working in the background to make sure that we're ready for anything that comes our way.
Very good, Megan.
Yeah, I think one of the aspects of the Wean to Harvest program in particular is that partnership between SHIC, Pork Board, and the Foundation for Food and Agriculture Research really allowed us to leverage the checkoff dollars for research, because the Foundation for Food and Agriculture Research matches private dollars with public dollars on a one-to-one basis. We were essentially able to double the number of projects, the number of foundational information that was developed through that program. So we're always looking for ways in which we can leverage the checkoff dollars for producers to provide the greatest value back to on-farm practices as well as transport biosecurity practices. One of the aspects of the Wean to Harvest program, and in particular this research project we highlighted today, was that it underscores the importance of cleaning and disinfecting market haul trailers, in that we know that there's a risk of the trailer becoming contaminated in the transport process or leaving that terminal point of concentration. And so certainly as producers can think about the most cost-effective and efficient ways to clean and disinfect their trailers when picking up hogs on farm, I think that can really help us with regards to biosecurity and reducing disease risk across the industry.
Very good. Dr. Megan Niederwerder with Swine Health Information Center and Dr. Marisa Rotolo, National Pork Board. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insight.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much, Ann.
For you and our audience, we thank you for tuning in today. For more coverage and conversations on pork industry related topics, be sure to check out the live and on-demand section of Feedstuffs 365, as well as our National Hog Farmer website. For Feedstuffs and National Hog Farmer, I'm Ann Hess.